Well, today I thought I'd start off with this question. Are you PC? Now you're probably saying, what do you mean, Lee? Why are you asking me, am I politically correct? That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you the capital PC. And that is, are you persistent and consistent? Because, my friends, that is the key to being a creator. That is the key to using your personal power. Ernest Holmes said, there is a power for good greater than you are, greater than we are in the universe, and we can use it. And one of the keys to using that power is our persistency and consistency. So I thought I'd talk about that today. Being persistent means continuing to do something even though it's difficult, either because it's a change in a long-term behavior or other people want you to stop. It's difficult to change. It's difficult because you're trying to change a behavior that you've been doing for a long time. Or it's difficult to stop because it's a behavior other people want you to do, but you don't want to do what other people want. Persistency means continuing to do it even though it's difficult. Let's look at consistent. Always acting or behaving in the same way, in the same pattern. The example of this is going to the gym. Are you persistent in going to the gym each and every week? Are you consistent in doing a routine that challenges you? If you are persistent and consistent going to the gym, you will have a body that is stronger, more flexible than by not doing it. If you are not persistent and consistent, it won't happen. I look at this persistency and consistency in light of the tale of the turtle versus the hare. The race between the turtle and the hare. And you know, the rabbit, it runs like crazy. Then it stops and it goes here, there, and that. The turtle just consistently and persistently plods along. And life is a journey. It's not about rushing to a destination. It's about moving forward. Consciously moving forward. Moving forward toward a self-determined result. I believe in life. Sometimes you have to move fast. But I believe that if you're persistent and consistent as the tortoise, you will achieve a result greater than anything you can imagine. In other words, it would go along with the idea, if you invest $5 every day, and let's just pick this, an S&P 500 index fund, and you're 20 years old, by the time you're 65, you'll be a very wealthy person. But if you're a rabbit and you rush and you spend, you rush and you spend, and then all of a sudden at 50 you invest $1,000, and then you start investing $1,000 once a month, guess what? By the time you're 65, you won't have near the amount of money that the person who invested $5 a day from the time they were 20. It's the persistency and consistency that makes it. So then we want to ask the question then, is change possible? The answer is yes. But for change to be possible, we must have a desire to change. Without a desire, we will not even entertain the possibility of making a change. You see, a lot of times we're told that desires are not good. Desires are wonderful. It's why we're here in human body. We don't live to desire things that are not meaningful. It's we desire things that have meaning to us. I have a desire to be a greater teacher. Why? Because I get great pleasure out of teaching. The more I teach, the better I feel, because I get to, when you teach something, you learn it. You learn it at the deepest of levels. And every day I'm doing something to, how can I be a greater teacher? What can I learn so that I can pass it on? But you got to have a desire to change. You see, most people my age are retired. I'm not retired. I'm just beginning, because I want to change, because I understand that change is what life is about. And so a lot of people will say to me, Lee, why change? How can you change? What I've learned is that in order to change, we must have a reason, a big reason, or many reasons that piled up together give us a big reason as to why we want to change. Because without why, the desire is a fairy tale. The desire is a fantasy. I remember so clearly in my early 30s and late 20s of wanting to change and stop smoking. Yeah, I was a smoker. And I thought I was healthy because I jogged 3.5 miles, I went to the gym, ate healthy, but I was smoking 2 packs a day. And you know that wasn't good, but I was fooling myself. And I tried to quit. I can't tell you how many times I never quit. I didn't have a why. And then one day when I was 33 years of age and I was holding my son who was an infant, and I was smoking a cigarette, and he looked up at me, and he couldn't talk, but he looked up at me, and I said, oh, I don't want him to see me doing this. I don't want this to be an example. And you see, once my son Stephen came into my life, being a father was the most important thing in the world to me. And I quit smoking that day. Never had another cigarette since, because I had a big why. The big why was one of my top values, and that was to be a dad. So I quit. I don't know what your why is, but I know that it's there, and you can build a why. That's something we talk about and we teach at Agape. With a big why, all change is possible. So first, we build a desire. We build a why. And then, my friends, we've got to make a decision. We've got to decide. And to decide is to make a final choice or judgment about where we want to take our life. A choice where we're willing to commit 100% of our effort. When I decided to quit smoking, there was no other possibility. When I decided to heal myself of a brain tumor, there was no other possibility. When I decided to start an independent spiritual center called Agape, there was no other possibility. And with no other possibility, you just move forward 100%. You wishing does not mean deciding. Hoping does not mean deciding. Deciding says, I am pursuing this, and I will do everything and anything to achieve it. Yeah. When I decided to get married, way back when, and I didn't know this stuff then, but I decided to get married at 21. I had no money. I still had a year of college to go. My wife had 2 years of college to go. We didn't have a place to stay. We had nothing. But we decided we were going to be married. And we left no other possibility. And here we are, almost 49 years later, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, loving each other, and loving life. Because we decided to create an extraordinary life together. Was it easy? No. But we decided, and when you decide, you find ways to make it work. And you're never settling. You're never settling. I will look at my wife today. I've never settled on anything I've ever done with her. It's always been for more. Always been for more. Here's the next step. Once you decide, you got to follow through. You got to proceed forward with all of our actions aligned with our decision until we achieve our desired result. Follow through, my friends, is where persistency and consistently come in. Without follow through, you're just throwing water into the wind. Nothing as good is going to happen. This is the biggest fault, not the biggest fault, this is the biggest stumbling block for everyone that I know that's on the spiritual path. Everyone wants to bounce from one modality to another modality thinking they're going to have an easy fix, a quick fix. No such thing. It's a persistent, consistent, daily spiritual practice. One of the things that I love about what we teach in religious science is that our thoughts create. In fact, our thoughts are always creating. The question is, are we doing it on purpose? Are we persistent and consistent with our thoughts? Or are they sporadic? Do we have them? We think about them, and then all of a sudden we allow the old patterns of thought to come back. You see, until you're persistent and consistent with your thought process, the creative power that is within you is going to create the predominant thought atmosphere that you have. To change that atmosphere, it requires persistency and consistency. You, my friends, I believe that we all want to be a deliberate creator. A deliberate creator is an individual who, in the midst of chaos, can think prosperously, lovingly, healthfully. That person is a deliberate creator. It's easy to think you're a deliberate creator when there's no chaos. And today, more than ever, there seems to be more chaos, or let's see, the awareness of chaos than we've ever experienced, at least in my life. But in the midst of that, can you think prosperously? Can you think about abundance? Can you think about being loving and kind? Can you think about being healthy? Or are you caught up in the illusion of chaos that surrounds us in the world today? Who's controlling your thoughts? Is it you? Or is it the narrative that is being spoken all around? To be a conscious creator takes great courage, because you're going to be a warrior, a spiritual warrior. And sometimes on that journey, it may appear that you are all alone. But because you've made a decision to create a desire that you have a big why for, no matter what, you will persistently and consistently march the path toward the creation and experience of that which lifts you and lights you up. And my friends, you will look at the end of your life back over it, and you will be so grateful that you became that spiritual warrior, that you stood alone and created your magnificent light. And when you're standing there, you'll notice that you were a light in the world, and the light that you presented benefited everyone around you, because we are all connected. And yet, we're all on our own individual journey. Be PC. Be persistent and consistent in living and creating your dream life. Because if you don't, no one else will. And and you deserve to have the life of your dreams.